Hi, my name is Anne Marie Bear, and I'm going to teach you how to make a soup called creamy potato soup. It's really an old traditional German soup, and it tends to be made with cream and potatoes and mushrooms. Now, I make it without really knowing that recipe. Um, the way I do it is I take maybe 1.5 potatoes per person. So if you have 2 people, you'd use 3 potatoes. So once you figure out how many potatoes you'll need, you're going to peel them, clean them off. Then you're going to dice them about quarter to an eighth inch cubed pieces. And once you finish that, you're going to set those aside in some water, or else they're going to turn brown. You know, once they make the air contacts the potatoes, they do turn brown. So you're going to put them in water and set them aside. And then you're going to take your pressure cooker and, you know, the one with the airtight lid and the valve that on top for the vapor to go out. You're going to grab that. Into that, you're going to put a cup of water per serving. Then you're going to take the potatoes that you put aside in water, drain the water out, and add them to the pressure cooker. And once they're in there, you're going to seal the lid, and it really depends on your stove at this point, whether you have a flame stove. Depending on what stove, will depend on how long you let it sit there. It's really not going to be very long at all, maybe 1 to 2 minutes. And after that, you're going to go ahead and turn the flame off, but don't take the lid off of the pressure cooker yet. You want to leave that on. The reason you do that is you don't want all the vapor to release yet. You want to leave that, let it sit. So you're going to let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes while you go about, doing your other things. So once you come back, it's going to be all settled. You can go ahead and take the lid off, and you'll notice on the sides, the pressure or the water is evaporated, so the sides are going to be covered with a kind of stock um, on the inner lining of the pressure cooker. So you're going to take all that out, and then you're going to use clean water. Now you're going to take your food processor and cup the mixture into the food processor. And once that runs in the food processor and becomes creamy, then you're going to go ahead and pour it back into the the pressure cooker. Once it's done in the food processor, you're going to pour it in the bowl you used at first to soak the potatoes in the water. You go ahead and put it in there, and then keep repeating this. You cup the mixture from the food pressure cooker into the food processor, and then once it's creamy, again pouring it into that bowl that you used before. At this point, you're going to have to judge and see if you need to add more water. You're going to have to see how thick it is. You don't want it too thick. So once that's finished, well, actually, I'm going to have to retrace my steps. I forgot something at the beginning. So in the beginning, you're going to take an onion and saute it. So you're going to dice the onion. If it's one serving, maybe a small onion will do. If two servings, you might want to use a medium to large size onion. So you're going to dice that up and saute it in your saucepan. So you're going to take a little bit of oil, put your diced onions in, and saute it until they're brown. When they're brown, that's when you know they have the best flavor. So you're going to add the onions into the soup, and at this point you can add your favorite spices. I tend to add salt, pepper, a little bit of white cayenne, a little bit of curry. And you can also add cumin if you'd like. Now the traditional German recipe, they use cream, but instead we're going to put a spoonful of butter in there. Excuse me, we're going to put margarine in and leave it for about, 10 minutes. And after about 10 minutes or so, you can go ahead and look at it, and you have to judge and see maybe it needs to sit a bit longer. And then I like to add a little bit of parsley on top. And then it's ready to eat. I like to eat it with French bread or maybe a little bit of salad. usually I make enough to last me about a week, so when I'm ready to have some, I'll go in and grab a cup for myself. It's nice to eat this, when it's cold out, about fall all the way through spring.